everyone. Welcome back to Collapse Astrology. My name is Hummingbird, and I kind of dropped off the face of the earth for a little while, which I think for better or worse is just how it goes when you have natal Saturn sitting on your ascendant like I do. But I am back, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the very significant, very palpable transition of Saturn into Aries. And I will say I have gone through a crisis of confidence recently, in large part because Saturn was also transiting my natal sun in late Pisces. And it's been a good thing ultimately in many different ways. But it was funny because I had written a whole script that was like a personal introduction to me, just different pieces of my life and my astrology that I want you guys to know, and I still do, but I had that script written and it was time to record it, and 3 days in a row, I woke up and I just did not want to do it. And that was exactly when Saturn was conjunct my sun, which I kind of put together at the end of that transit. So that was a pretty intense period. It was about a month ago. I deleted Instagram at that time, deleted it from my phone. So I've been clearing out scrolling from my life, and that has been very healthy. In general, I am making some big changes, definitely nudged along by that Saturn transit. And I still do want to do a personal introduction, although I think I may be meant to go live for it, which is terrifying for me, but we'll see. I think that might be my next step. I did reach the first level of monetization on YouTube last month, which means I can get tips on lives, which is exciting. There's a couple other things I think I can do, like memberships and merch. I don't get paid per views until the second level, but I hope that I can get there pretty quickly from now. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your patience with me, and thank you for supporting this channel. Super grateful for that. All right, so more about me another time, hopefully sooner rather than later. But for now, I actually have a whole bunch of content coming out all at once. Not only this video, but separate rising sign horoscope videos for each sign. And those are linked below. I actually had a lot of fun making them, and will continue to do that kind of thing if you guys are into it. So please check them out. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the general transit of Saturn in Aries. This one is not too political or historical because I wanted to mostly focus on how we can orient personally and interpersonally. In some traditions, Saturn and Jupiter are referred to as interpersonal planets, but the sign of Aries actually makes this transit super, super personal and internal as well. So what will come up will be about personal survival, personal work ethic, the very, very personal journey of claiming or coming to terms with an aspect of your identity. For some, this may be concretely related to gender or sexual orientation or ethnicity or culture, but for others, it may be less labelable and more related to an internal process than about something that's defined by society. And then from this core of personal work will come the interpersonal shifts, the new boundaries and structures that will start to form between us as the Saturn and Aries forging work unfolds. And that is the metaphor I'm gravitating towards for this transit, a forging of identity that will happen slowly and painstakingly, because that's the way that Saturn always operates. Technically, Saturn is debilitated in Aries, and the first phrase that came into my mind when I was looking at this transit was the phrase "a heavy grind." And I think it will be that, but I think that we can also reshape our perspective and embrace the experience in a new way if we imagine it as iron being forged into steel. So Saturn will be shaping and sharpening that very personal psychological space inhabited by Aries, and hopefully we'll all come out with a stronger root and a stronger sense of self-knowing. And at the same time, it also will be a heavy grind. Debilitation means that Saturn and Aries kind of bring out the worst in each other. So Saturn can feel like a heavy weight around the ankles of the warrior spirit that inhabits Aries. And Aries' impulsivity and impatience is a constant irritant to Saturn, who does everything slowly and deliberately, and, of course, who is known as Kronos or Father Time. So the two archetypes just don't exactly jibe. And I do think it's helpful to know that in advance and to be prepared. So again, you can check out the horoscope videos for more customized information about how the transit might impact you. Here, let's get a little deeper into each of the archetypes. So I'm just going to put up a bunch of keywords that you can maybe take in on your own and see how these come together for you, but I'll just read them out loud. So for Saturn, we're talking about form, substance, contraction, boundaries, structures, commitment, devotion, diligence, limitations, endings, mortality, chronological or linear time, heaviness, weight, gravitas, teacher, mentor, authority figure, maturity, the metal lead, slowness, patience, pressure, harshness, and shape or an active shaping. And for Aries, we have the beginning of the cycle, fire, spark, the warrior, life force, survival, impulse, identity, fight or flight, activation, competition, single-mindedness, presence, the hunter, initiation, divine masculine, impatience, just do it, courage, readiness, the root chakra, the third chakra, willpower, and a flare-up. And then wherever Saturn comes through, restructuring is required. So even if you don't have personal planets in Aries, it can be really helpful to know what area of your chart and your life is being impacted. And I think that if you tune into that area of life, there will be something that the universe is really asking you to grind at. It might be a gym routine. It might be about saving money. It might be a big change that you have to make happen, but it can't happen overnight. So it really requires showing up day after day, week after week to the task of pushing through a new reality. It might be about acknowledging a truth around your own values or morals that requires some disruption or endings or boundary setting in your life. And whatever it is, you might already know what it is. The bubble might have already popped, maybe when Neptune moved back into Aries at the end of March, but you may have not felt like you have had the stamina to take real action yet. So hopefully Saturn's entrance into Aries will change that. And hopefully not in a super abrupt, harsh way, but in a way that makes you feel alive, on purpose, devoted, ready for that grind, maybe even grateful about whatever is being asked of you. I've been contemplating the Pisces-Aries threshold a lot since March. It is a really potent spot. I would say the most potent spot in the zodiac. I think it's hard to argue with that. And Neptune and Saturn crisscrossing it so close together means that we have access to a lot of that very transformative death and rebirth type of energy. But I've also been thinking about the way that it's sort of like a transition from a freeze state into a fight or flight state in the nervous system. So one step up the polyvagal ladder of nervous system states. And that means like a coming alive or back to life, kind of coming out kicking and screaming, which is gorgeous because that's normal for new life, right? At least a healthy human baby. It's natural that they let out a scream or a cry right after coming out of the womb. And so that's what Aries is like, but it's also disruptive, right? And uncomfortable. The fight-flight state, I think, is like that too. It is uncomfortable, but it's a necessary step on the ladder up. So I wrote a longer piece that's posted on Medium that gets more into how I see this transit relating to the polyvagal ladder and the nuances of the ladder, which you may be aware of if you are into polyvagal theory, the maybe lack of nuance really of this kind of way of understanding nervous system states. But I think that astrology can help us understand what might be going on with our nervous systems right now. I think that we're emerging from a collective freeze response, which corresponds to the energy and the archetype of late Pisces, into a fight or flight response or a sympathetic nervous system activation, which, like I said, really corresponds to Aries. And that's good. That's a necessary step. But of course, we'd also love to be out of a threat response altogether. So I get into that more in the piece, which is linked below. But I think that for all of us on the personal level, the best way to ride this out is to identify what is being asked of you, what task the universe is really asking you to grind at. It's not going to be everywhere in your life, but you might be able to tune in to one specific thread that you can follow. So where do you feel called to like push a heavy boulder up a hill? And, you can feel maybe what an enormous task this is, but maybe you also feel ready, maybe energized, maybe even you can feel your inner warrior waking up, that kind of determination coming alive in you. And so if you can feel that, zero in on that area of life and really give it your all. You don't have to burn yourself out. You don't have to push yourself everywhere, like I said, but just see if you can tune into this particular path, whatever lesson the universe is offering you right now. And then by deliberately utilizing Saturn's energy there, you can channel it in the most effective and impactful way. And I think this is maybe an important reminder right now. There truly is a part of ourselves that comes back to life, that regenerates even from the deepest, darkest depths of lack of hope and faith and belief and optimism. And I think that part exists in all the signs in different ways. It's not only Aries, but in Aries, it is also primary. Aries metabolizes super quickly. It knows what it stands for. And it's just kind of, there's like zero separation between Aries and that eternal flame that burns in all of us. So I really hope that we can tap into that as we move forward and let it help us in picking up whatever burden Saturn is laying in our path. And especially as this shift from collective freeze to collective activation, fight or flight, happens, maybe you're feeling a restirring of what you really believe in, what you really stand for, or who you really are. Maybe you've had to let go of some old layers of that, some old layers of identity. But if a bubble popped as Neptune moved from Pisces into Aries, maybe a new truth is also starting to come clearer for you now. I really hope that you feel that. I do feel that personally, at least on the good days. And I'm leaning into much bigger changes that I'm making in my life. And, for me personally, I can definitely feel where the grind is. A piece of it is here on YouTube. There's other things too in my life. I can feel the massive grind. And Saturn's, pushing my life in that direction, which is ultimately the direction that I do want it to go. So it feels like an enormous boulder to push up a hill, but also I am already doing it. I'm already making big changes, and I really hope I'm right on time, and I really, really hope the same for you. So, okay, I'm going to finish here. If you watched until the end of the video, thank you so much. One more reminder that there are horoscope videos also out for each rising sign, and you could also watch your sun sign. I also think if you know what house you have Saturn in natally, you could probably resonate with the horoscope for that house. And the article that I mentioned on Saturn and Aries and the polyvagal ladder is linked below. That is definitely for the somatics nerds. And yeah, I don't know, guys, should I go live and introduce myself? I, for years, have wanted to do a weekly live thing, like an astrological news show kind of thing. And I tried doing that like as a live stream on Instagram a couple of years ago, and I kept up with it for a little while, but I couldn't really make it stick for a lot of different reasons. And one of the reasons, I forget if I've said this on here before, but one of the main reasons I'm nervous about going live is because I don't trust my Mercury in Aries. Sometimes I, in real life, say things that I can't back up or that I don't really mean. And it's that flamethrower effect. Like, it comes out before I have control of it. So that's why I feel much more comfortable as a content creator and, as a public figure. Like, I want to take my words very seriously. I want to be impeccable with my words. So I feel a lot more comfortable making pre-recorded videos with scripts. And I do wonder if any other people with some strong Aries placements feel me there. But also at this point, I feel like I may just need to make some mistakes, get my hands dirty when it comes to speaking a little more off the cuff. So I don't know, we'll see, but maybe this transition happening in this transit means that it's time. All right, well, please like and subscribe if you are new here. I'll be back again soon. There is much more fascinating astrology coming right up. Many blessings. Until then, bye.